I developed a real love for state politics, state and local politics. In fact, I never envisioned that I would ever be involved at a national level. But what became very apparent to me when I ran for vice chair of the state Republican Party was we had a couple problems. We had a problem in our party, and we had a problem on the federal level. And the problems in the party are more greatly magnified on a federal level, and I'll tell you why. When you look at the Constitution purposefully creates mechanisms to keep government from aggregating power in one particular place. That's why we have three branches of government: the judicial, the legislative, and the executive. And the founding fathers purposefully tried to create a very labyrinthian system so that no faction or party could aggregate all power in one place. And so here's something that's been very telling to me as a legislator and as a participant in the political process. When you see a party who attempts to control all three branches of government, you've got a problem. Because that party has set itself in diametric opposition to the intent of the founding fathers. Why? Because no one was ever intended to control all three branches of government. And I like to believe that we have a higher calling, whether we be Democrat or Republican. And that higher calling is to honor our oath of office above all else. That oath is an oath where we swear to uphold and maintain the Constitution of the United States of America. The problem that we have today is the federal government has become so enlarged, it has exceeded its bounds so significantly that state governments, I realized as a legislator, have been relegated to being area administrators, geographic area administrators. We don't maintain the same sovereign power that we used to have under the original constitutional form of government that was established in America. I felt it was necessary to run for a couple reasons. One, to try and help check and balance what was going on in our party. We needed to be dedicated more towards the principles that our party was founded upon. We ought to be, in my opinion, the party which stands for the Constitution. The problem is we've got two focuses as Republicans. One is to elect Republicans, the other one is to serve our platform, right? Perpetuate the platform. We've largely put the other one to the background, and we've sought to elect Republicans, no matter who they are. Second, we need to put back into its proper place our federal government. And I believe there's three ways we do that. One is we tackle the taxation issue. The federal government collects way too much money. And there's no way we'll ever rein them back in unless we're looking for every opportunity we can get to cut taxes. And specifically, the alternative minimum tax, capital gains tax, inheritance tax, and our corporate income tax level is far too high. We have one of the highest corporate tax levels in the industrialized world. Also, we need to make sure that we cut programs. We've got way too many programs. And third, we need to ensure that Utah controls its own destiny, which means we need to have access to and control of our lands. We would not have an economic problem in Utah if we had control of our own lands, but we don't. 67% of them are under the control of the federal government. If you head out to the Uinta Basin, you probably heard that they had leases revoked by Secretary Ken Salazar after those leases had already been granted to the state of Utah and to those companies who had applied for those leases. After a lot of work had been done, they were just simply taken away, and we lost a great deal of money as a state that would have gone to our schools and right into our economy because of that move. So those to me are the three things that I want to go back to Washington, D.C. to do. I think those three things represent sort of the three pillars by which we can change the nature of the federal government and put it back in the box that it's supposed to be in. Have any of you ever read Bastiat's The Law? Great book, talks about the importance of respecting the rule of law. Right now we have a government that can do anything it wants. With the right vote and a Supreme Court that will never really overturn things that the federal government does, they can implement pretty much anything. And we've got to change that. We've got to put the federal government back in its place into a position where they are bound by the constraints of the Constitution. To me, the Constitution really is the answer to the problems we face as a nation.